for this example, we need to prove the right angle congruence theorem. And starting out, we have two angles, and they are right angles. So measure of angle 1 is a right angle. We know that equals 90 degrees. And measure of angle 2 is also a right angle, and that also equals 90 degrees, and we'll get into that. So here we go. We're going to label these as given. And what happened between line 1 and 3? Well, instead of saying it's a right angle, they went ahead and just wrote that it's 90 degrees. And that's because the definition of right angles is that it is 90 degrees. So we're going to write definition of right angles. We're going to call that 1. And you can see that's the same thing that's happened between lines 2 and 4. Okay, very good. Now the next one, we have measures of angle 1 is equal to measure of angle 2. So let's see how that works. So we could add measure of angle 1 is equal to 90 degrees. And we also have measure of angle 2 is equal to 90 degrees. So for this particular one, we're going to choose substitution property of equality. In the past, we've also chosen transitive property of equality. But for this particular one, go ahead and choose that one. And that is because we're substituting instead of the measure of angle 1 equaling 90 degrees, we are substituting in measure of angle 2. And in the previous examples, we didn't have this one to choose from for the substitution, but it's the most appropriate in this case. If this was not here, then we would have picked that one. Okay, now going on to the next line, we have measure of angle 1 equaling measure of angle 2. How do we get to measure of angle, or angle 1 being congruent to angle 2? That is the definition of congruent angles. Definition of congruent angles, let's call this 3. And I lost my pencil, there we go, 3. And this was 2. All right, I hope this helps, and we'll see you in the next question.